am not able to get a high score on this game. I'm not going to give up, but let's try something different. Let's hit reset, and let's go for something else. There's other games on this thing. GALAGA. Let's try that. All right, I need to beat 191,700. Let's go. I come from a small town of Anderson, California. Some of you are saying, "Tall Paul, aren't you just a big fat guy who plays video games in his mother's basement?" No. I'm a big fat guy who plays video games in my own basement. Thank you very much. Currently, I live in the small town of Lewiston, Idaho. It fits me well because I'm a small town boy at heart. Getting the second fighter is very important in this game. All right. Any of you play team sports growing up? I played on many different teams and many different coaches. Anderson, California, has a high school also named Anderson. And recently, a longtime coaching legend named Bob Reid passed away. He was the football coach for many a moon in Anderson. I went to Anderson High School, and I also taught there for a short time. And Reid was there through all of that. He coached for over 30 years, coached many players, and many players loved him. He had a positive impact on my life, and he wasn't even my coach. I didn't even play football. But I remember he would ask me, "Paul, why don't you come out and play football? Paul, play football. It'd be good for you." I can't play football. My dad won't let me play football. "Oh, you need to come play football." I always loved that he would ask. But to tell you the truth, I was a toothpick in high school, and I probably would have got broken in half. My dad forbade it. That's what he told me. "I forbid you to play football." So I didn't, but I did play basketball. But Reid wasn't even my coach, and he impacted my life greatly just with how personal he was. I remember when he was a teacher, he would stand out in the hallway in between classes and talk to kids. And there'd be a crowd gathered around him, and he'd be grabbing this kid, asking him about his grades, and this kid asking him about his mom, or how things are going on at home, or whatever. Did you get your work done? Did you get those grades up? And he really cared. It wasn't just about wins and losses. It was about the relationships he made. And that really went well. I mean, that went well with those players. They all loved him to pieces. I had a lot of respect for him. He used to knock guys in the helmet if they'd mess up. And that used to be pretty accepted. Like, a parent be up in the stands and they see Reid whop their son in the head, and they'd be like, "Well, he did something stupid." But I'd tell the kid to shape up. I remember when I taught at Anderson, I think it was in the year 2000. I graduated in 91, so in the year 2000 I'm teaching, and I'm watching a football game. Actually, I think I'm announcing the football game. And a kid did something, comes off the field, and Reid grabs his helmet, whop, and hits him. And all of a sudden I hear the crowd go, "Oh," like they didn't like that. And I thought, whoa, we're stepping into a different era. You can't do that anymore. When Bob Reid retired, they brought in another coach, a young guy who played high school football and was the assistant under Reid as they won another section title. We all thought, man, this guy will probably be here for many years. Like Reid was here over 30 years. The next football coach has got to be here for 30 plus years. Well, he lasted 1 year, and then he went to go coach at another high school. I think it was his hometown high school, and he left. Well, they brought in another coach, and his team didn't do so well. He started off kind of with a losing record. So they fired him. And so began a revolving door of coaches coming in and out. And you won't hear many more coaches having a tenure like Reid. He was a last of a dying breed, unfortunately. No one's going to invest their life like they did, like Reid did back then. At least it won't be very common. I remember years later seeing Reid. He came up to me and he asked me how I was doing. He remembered my name, and I never played for him. Not only did he remember my name, he remembered the name of my brother who went to high school there. He remembered my little sister. He said their first names and asked how they were doing. I thought, how do you know my sister and brother? Like, none of us played for you. But he took that interest in everybody's life. Let's see if I can get all these. Oh man. So far so good. Oh! Basketball, I had good coaches and bad coaches. One of the most impactful coaches I had was my freshman basketball coach, Paul Peterson. Mr. Peterson was also the chemistry and physics teacher. I think that's what it was. And he did all the AP classes, and he was a super smart guy. Actually, he later became the girls' varsity volleyball coach for many years. But that year he was the freshman basketball coach. And he knew the program so well. I remember how he instructed us and taught us all the fundamentals of what the varsity ran, all their offenses and defenses and everything, all the plays. And we felt like we knew the whole varsity program by the time we left our freshman year. And many of those guys on that team will remember how much they learned from Peterson. When I was at Anderson High School, there was a high school in Reading called Nova. Nova was the area 9th grade high school. All the area high schools had 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, and all the freshmen from those three high schools went to one school, Nova. So every sport would field 3 teams. So they would have Nova White, Nova Gold, and Nova Purple. My freshman year, we were playing Nova Purple at Nova for the league championship. Well, to be co-champions because they had already beaten us once. But if we could beat Nova Purple at their place, we could win a share of the title. And I remember Peterson walking into the locker room before the game and him giving us a speech that I still remember. I remember him saying, "I don't know what you're doing tomorrow or next month or next year, but right now, this could be the last time that you ever put on the blue and gold uniform and play for Anderson. Something might happen. You might move. You might get hurt. You might not make another team. But this could be it. How do you want to go out? We have a chance to be champions. Each of you has a chance to play and leave it all on the court for this moment. This is what makes champions." And boy, when he walked out of that locker room, we all thought, man, we put on this uniform. It could be the last time. How are we going to go out wearing blue and gold? And he was actually right. There were guys on that team that had really never put on a uniform again after that. And some guys that never played basketball for the high school again. But that was impactful. And every guy on that team, from 1 to 13, played in that game. And we won. We won that league title. And they put our picture up in the cafeteria as league champions. And that hung on the wall, and that meant something to us. That was huge. Wearing the blue and gold. And it kind of started me on my journey of just loving the blue and gold. I've had all kinds of coaches. Coaches who lived and died, wins and losses. Coaches who didn't care who you were. They're just going to get something out of you. Coaches who just thought about their own careers. But the ones that made impacts were the ones that cared about the game and cared about developing you as a person. And actually, you saw they had a heart. And you knew they got the best out of you. I think that's the mark of a good coach. The wins and losses are important, but they're not everything. And coaches who just care only about the game at the end, they only have the game to love them back. And the game does not love you back. You're only as good as your last game. And I was lucky to have some good coaches at Anderson. I was lucky to have some good coaches in college. I had some bad ones too, but I'm not going to get negative. Ow! I'm not going to get negative on coaches right now. But I wish the best for Bob Reid's family. I'm sorry for everyone's loss. Hard to lose such a good man who spent his life doing nothing but caring about the community and developing young men into strong student athletes. So if you're still listening, I appreciate it. I'm sort of approaching a high score here. I probably will flub it at the end because the game gets faster and I usually choke. I'm just kidding. Gotta stay positive. Oh! If anyone out there went to Anderson High School and has a Bob Reid story, feel free to share it in the comments. I'd like to hear about it. Be the first to comment on my videos. Nobody's left to comment on my videos. Well, actually, one person did leave a comment. Hey, that person was me. Leave a comment about Bob Reid or another coach you had. Tell me a story. I'd like to hear it. This is where it gets real tight. Oh, man. Close. Bombs start dropping from everywhere. See how they start flying around crazy like this? And I only got the one shooter right now, so that makes it very difficult. I did some coaching myself when I was a teacher. I actually coached 1 year at Liberty Christian, coached the JV boys. I coached 2 years at Anderson High School, coached the JV boys for basketball, and I spent 1 year at Simpson University as the men's assistant. And I often think about the guys that played for me and how they're doing in life, and even though that was a lifetime ago, I still wonder how they're doing. I still stay in touch with some of them. It's nice to know that you had some small impact in someone's life, and it wasn't about the score of a game or that kind of thing. It was about how you believed in someone, how you listened to someone, how you were able to make an impact on someone's life. So remember that if you get the chance to be someone's coach, because you're the coach not just for that season, but for the rest of their life. They'll always remember you that way. So close. Oh, this is getting intense. Ah! Okay, now they're dropping 1,000,000 bombs. They're not going to let me break my score. I knew it was a conspiracy! A conspiracy, I tell you. Oh, I broke it! There it is, folks. A high score. 191,760. I broke it by 50 points. Oh, 60 points. So let's put my initials on the board, ladies and gentlemen. PLN. That stands for Paul Lawrence Nelson. I need to get some other people to play my game, I guess. I'm just beating myself. All right, high scores. All right, Alpha Dog. I'm behind you. 1,693 on the GALAGA worldwide board. I'm going to get you.